History made in Lagos State as first metro rail transport begins operations. Presidential Tribunal set to deliver judgment on September 6th. And DSS raises alarm over plot to stage violent protest, identifies ringleaders. Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Simisola Adigun. A history has been made in Lagos as the Blue Line rail line system has finally commenced commercial operations. Governor of the state, Babajide Sanwo-Olu's officials and other residents joined the inaugural train ride from Marina to Mile 2 on Monday. Addressing journalists after the trip, Governor Sanwo-Olu commended the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, and other stakeholders for the completion of the project.
Also to mention that the Lastra card, which is our state citizens' identity card, can also be used on the train. So I want to employ all of you also, especially students, especially you students, to go get your Lastra card, because you can actually travel with the Lastra card on the train, because it has a chip and I think it has a wallet as well. So it has the ability to be able to do tap in and tap up, as well. On the Cowrie card, let me also announce that we've gotten almost 4 million citizens that have the Cowrie card already.
The much anticipated verdict of the Presidential Election Petition Court is expected to be delivered on Wednesday, September the 6th, 2023. The Chief Registrar of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, Umar Bangari, who made the disclosure, also revealed that the judgment of the tribunal will be broadcast live. He, however, said access to the court premises will be strictly on accreditation, and only accredited individuals, including counsel and representatives of political parties, will be allowed in the courtroom. Judgment is also expected to be delivered by election tribunals in 25 states for governorship, National Assembly, and State Assembly election petitions. The court is founded on the principles of law and evidence, and as such, any judgment delivered by the Presidential Election Petition Court is a result of all the evidence tendered before the court by the aggrieved parties and their ability to prove their case before the court. These are the words of legal expert Evans Ufeli, who spoke in an interview with TV360 Nigeria on the much-awaited judgment by the tribunal. According to him, the judiciary is the only point where disputes can be resolved, and whatever judgment is given by the tribunal will enhance the growth of democracy in Nigeria.
The court acted, or the court acts dispassionately on issues when they are before the court. I know that society have their sentiments. People are divided. Some are for the petitioner, some are for the respondent and all that. And sometimes criticisms are, centered around these sentiments. But the truth of the matter is that the court is not a church. The court is not a religious house. The court will not pander to the sentiments of society just so that society can be satisfied with whatever it is. The court will not look at what is in the newspaper or what is in several blogs and social media handles to reach a conclusion on a judgment. The judgment does not affect how democracy is viewed. I mean, if it will affect it, I think it will affect it positively, if that is what you mean. The judgment of a court is a decision of the court based on the outcome of the case having been a contest before the court of law. Our democratic system, we have so many issues with our electoral system, and because the issues in the electoral system have not been resolved, the judiciary is the only point of call where these disputes can be resolved. And this dispute will be resolved on the strength of justice, on what is just, fair, and what is upright. In the reasoning of the court, lies the prospect of justice as the court sees it. So from the 25 states, you are going to have, these people have all been in tribunal, the cases are winding down, judgment is, date have been fixed for judgment in some of these cases and all that. And what we are going to see is that the judgment will enhance the growth of democracy.
The Department of State Services, DSS, says it has uncovered plans by some elements in parts of the country to stage violent protests in order to discredit the federal government and security agencies over sundry socio-economic matters. The agency's spokesman, Peter Afunaya, raised the alarm in a statement on Monday, adding that the DSS has identified the ringleaders of the plot. In light of this development, the Secret Police has instructed tertiary institutions, heads and vice-chancellors of universities to prevent their students from taking part in actions that could disrupt public peace. It warned that it won't hesitate to take legal action against the people and groups responsible for the sneaky schemes. The growing insecurity trend has raised concern, especially as the Department of State Services says it has uncovered plots by the criminal element to stage violent protests. Earlier, I spoke to security expert Salahuddin Hashim. I began by asking him if the DSS is only trying to stop the Nigeria Labour Congress, that's the NLC, from carrying out its right to peaceful protests.
You cannot undermine security reports. Intelligence has a variety that you must actually have to apply. You have the action intelligence, you have various categorization of intelligence. So if the DSS had come out to say that there are political elites who have actually started mobilizing for this purpose, then of course it becomes very important to pay some attention to it, and we don't politicize that particular information, and that for me is very fundamental. Because the idea is very clear. We run an economy, we run a country where most politicians are not Democrats. And because they are not Democrats, they go all the way to be able to use every means necessary. And remember, all means necessary to be able to drive home their points. And of course, it will not be out of way to say that the issue of mobilization for purposes of protest to derail an ongoing administration or just to seemingly make it look like there's a challenge on the ground might not be out of place. So I think it would be good to be able to look at that intelligence, process it, and then of course review to be able to be sure that indeed it is something that requires a lot of attention. But fundamentally, I think the categories and the class of our political state, that becomes very clear that we take that into account.
So at this juncture, what measures do you think the security agencies can put in place to ensure peace and stability in the country going forward?
Yeah, which is the reason why the entire value chain to this, even though we don't attempt to see that civic space are being clamped, that it becomes very important that security agencies use right-based approach to containing and preventing this particular process. That is one. Two is to provide some level of riot acts, and then of course, what does the rules of engagement says in circumstances like this. We must be able to come out very clearly, outline what the ROE specifies in situations like this, and deploy them. Third is the fact that we do not want to see any form of violence against unarmed citizens. A reoccurrence of EndSARS is something that is palpable if security agencies mismanage this particular process.
Dr. Salahuddin Hashim, security expert, speaking on the DSS, saying it had uncovered plans by some elements in parts of the country to stage violent protests in order to discredit the federal government and security agencies over sundry socio-economic matters. Now, President Bola Tinubu has chaired a meeting of the National Security Council at the State House, Abuja. Although details of the meeting were not made public, it has been reported that the meeting was convened to review the current security situation and for the service chiefs to brief President Tinubu before he departs for New Delhi, India, ahead of the G20 summit scheduled for September 9 to 10th. Monday's gathering, which was held at the President's conference room, comes exactly 3 months after Tinubu convened his first security meeting with the now retired service chiefs, making it the President's third meeting since assuming office on May 29, 2023. The Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism, in collaboration with the Bill and Melinda Foundation, has organized its 5th Fellowship Induction and Award Ceremony. The award ceremony saw 12 female journalists receive awards for their performance in reporting gender-based issues. Speaking at the 5th edition of the Female Reporters Leadership Program, the Executive Director and CEO of WSCU CIJ, Moturayo Alaka, said that the initiative, which was established in 2014, was aimed at addressing underrepresentation of girls and women issues in news reports. She also emphasized the importance of advocating for the eradication of gender inequity in the newsroom worldwide.
We did not pick just people who were already leaders in the newsroom. Some of them are leaders already in their newsroom. We picked people who showed interest, who showed that I want this and I'm going to do something with it. So they are at different stages, but they had a 3-day first training, and after that they had to do story and leadership projects, which for us it's one story that mainstreams women. It mustn't be exactly about women, but it mainstreams women issues. Many of them always choose stories that are about women because there are not enough stories that are focused on women. And then they have to do a leadership project, which is the more difficult thing. They have to pull resources together.
I had a different perception or idea when I was joining, but due to mentorships, shared learnings, shared experiences from colleagues in there, it came out really well, and I'm grateful today. I didn't know that I could do a story like this, honestly. It was an undercover, and I went with the support of 2 other friends who were not journalists to do this, and it was really interesting.
So the Report Women Female Reporters Leadership Program, this is the 5th fellowship, and it's been an amazing one. We've gone through the process of orientation, through several trainings on sexual and gender-based violence and how to report them, because the main purpose of this fellowship is to actually increase the reportage on women issues, and we all have done that. That's the 12 fellows now. We all have done that, and it's been an amazing journey because it's quite important for us to populate the number of women-centered issues we have in our mainstream media.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, Eni becomes latest oil giant to exit Nigeria's onshore operations. Stay with us for details of the story and more when we return.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Here's a recap of our top stories. History has been made in Lagos as the Blue Line rail system has finally commenced commercial operations. Governor of the state, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and officials joined the inaugural train ride from Marina to Mile 2 on Monday. We also told you that the much-anticipated verdict of the Presidential Election Petition Court is expected to be delivered on Wednesday, September 6, 2023. The Chief Registrar of the Court of Appeal in Abuja, Umar Bangari, who made the disclosure, also revealed that the judgment of the tribunal will be broadcast live. Judgment is also expected to be delivered by election tribunals in 25 states for governorship, National Assembly, and State Assembly election petitions. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletins or for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, on Facebook or at TV360 Online.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On Digi 360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts, and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians say in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
Digi 360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Let's now join Mary Kano, who's on standby with business news. Over to you, Mary.
Many thanks, Simisala. Welcome to Business News. Italy's oil and gas giant Eni has agreed to sell its Nigerian onshore oil and gas subsidiary to local oil company Oando PLC in the latest move by an international energy giant to divest onshore assets. The sale of the Nigerian Agip Oil Company Limited, which is subject to regulatory approval, will nearly double Oando's reserves to 996 million barrels of oil equivalent. After the sale, the management says Eni will retain the unit's 5% stake in the Shell Production Development Company joint venture operated by Shell. While speaking on this development, oil and gas expert Emeka Chuk says the agreement will serve as a boost for the nation's oil production OPEC quota.
To be beneficial for Nigerians because it's going to help us to be able to increase our production output at the moment. I think that's one of the benefits that we are going to derive from this. It's going to help us increase because over time we have been having issues about not meeting our OPEC quota. So it is having serious challenges, serious financial cut down on our output. Well, for the past 8 years now, we've been having challenges. So this is having serious crisis for us. Most of the companies who are living massively are living because of the insecurity in that sector. The insecurity is too much. Insecurity is affecting the investors. Over the years, we've seen how pipeline vandalization and kidnap of expatriates has affected that sector. So many people, so many of these big-time companies are moving out trying to move their production and exploration services to other West African countries because they cannot sustain it. They can't take the risk of losing their expatriates during security. Another reason why most of them are also moving out is because there are so many unstable policies Nigerian government is chilling out. The policies are not stable. Today you say something, tomorrow you say something else. And most of these investors cannot continue to stay in an environment where the policies are not suitable for them. That's another challenge that we're having. Why most of them are going out.
We'll take a break now and be back with stock market reports. Stay with us. And the upbeat sentiment in the local bourse is sustained this week as investors forward trade on ongoing corporate activities that present bargain hunting opportunities. We see the NGX kick off by 1.11%. The benchmark all-share index closed at 68,279.14 basis points, representing a one-week gain of 3.22%. Market breadth also ended positive with 38 gainers and 19 losers. Now, topping the gainers list, Dangote Sugar Refinery led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 66 naira 55 kobo per share, followed by Nascan. Now, Monday's data shows 48% improvement in volume, 88% improvement in turnover, and 57% improvement in deals. Now, the global stock markets are set to get a boost amid the rollout of steps taken by China to revive the property sector, leading the Japan's Nikkei to close in the green at 0.70%. UK's FTSE, however, traded in the bears at 0.16%. The US stock market's Dow Jones remained closed on Monday on account of the Labor Day holiday. Well, that's the stock market report. Simisala, over to you now for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Mary. And in Gabon, General Brice Nguema, who led a coup last week that toppled the Bongo family's 55-year-old dynasty, has taken the oath of office as interim president on Monday. Dressed in the red ceremonial costume of the Republican Guard, Nguema also swore to preserve the achievement of democracy at the ceremony held before judges of the Constitutional Court. He immediately pledged in a speech to hold free and transparent elections after a transition period, which he did not specify, and to offer amnesty to prisoners of conscience. On Saturday, the coup leaders reopened the borders, saying they were concerned with preserving respect for the rule of law, good relations with neighbors and all states of the world, and wanted to keep international commitments. Britain's King Charles III has reached the milestone of 1 year on the throne this week, with his reign so far characterized by a smooth transition from that of his late mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The anniversary was marked quietly on Friday, given that the date is also that of his mother's death at the age of 96. Charles stepped into his new role with apparent ease after some 70 years waiting as heir, the longest of any in British history. The 74-year-old was officially crowned alongside his wife Camilla on May 6 at London's Westminster Abbey in front of royalty and global leaders. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Singer, songwriter, and YBNL star Asake, popularly known as Mr. Money, has won the Next Rated Award at the 16th Eddies Awards. The Next Rated Award is given to a promising act with an EP or album in the year under review. Asake peeped Young John, Shay Vibes, Victini, and Spyro to win the highly coveted award. The singer has been on a consistent run of dropping hit songs since its comeback and has 2 solid albums, Mr. Money with the Vibe and the recently released Work of Art, to show for his efforts. Asake also clinched the Album of the Year award over top favorites Burna Boy and Davido. The unending drama in the Big Brother Naija house has not eased up for 1 second since it commenced 6 weeks ago. In the latest twist of the season, 4 housemates have been evicted from the Big Brother's house. Sheyi and Ike, 2 original housemates, were evicted by fans after the latest round of voting. Lucian Prince, 2 house guests sent into the house to shake up the game a little, have also exited the house. Sunday's eviction increases the number of expelled housemates to 8 and heightens the tension in Biggie's house. And that's all on the entertainment segment of News Now. Omo Miseriki, TV360 Nigeria.
Portugal's camp for the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sao Tome and Principe will now open on Wednesday in Uyo. Presently on 12 points from their previous 5 matches, the Super Eagles are already guaranteed a place in the finals, but must earn at least a point to be sure of topping the group ahead of second-placed Guinea-Bissau, who are on 10 points and play at home to Sierra Leone in Bissau. The game is scheduled for Sunday, September the 10th at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium in Uyo. Côte d'Ivoire is billed to host the 2023 AFCON finals. Well, that's our bulletin this evening. Thank you for watching. I'm Simisola Adigun. Bye for now.